Welcome to Cord Cutting Today for January 21st, 2020. This is the show where I break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting right now and give you my opinion on them. Now, this is my opinion. If you want to learn more about these stories, check out the show notes down below. I'll put a link to each story there in the order we talk about them so you can read about them for yourself and let us know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It's a huge help because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, and hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost of cable TV and still watch the shows you enjoy. Well, a lot has been happening in the last 24 hours, but there's a lot happening today. Netflix is going to announce their earnings numbers for the fourth quarter of 2019. If you want to see how Netflix is doing, keep an eye over at cordcuttersnews.com. Later today, we'll have a full breakdown of everything Netflix announces. They don't often make massive announcements in their earnings reports, but we often get some tidbits, and we often get subscriber numbers and more. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Disney Plus impacted Netflix. We'll keep a close eye on this. All right, let's dive into it, taking a look at some of the biggest news. And Netflix numbers this afternoon. Keep an eye on cordcuttersnews.com. All right, we've talked for some time about cable TV companies going bankrupt. There's been a lot of speculation that we'll see more and more of this happening as cord cutting grows, with smaller cable companies struggling to adapt. Well, now a decent-sized cable company, not one you could call small by any means, to be honest with you, Frontier Communications has announced to its creditors, according to Bloomberg, it will be going into bankruptcy. That has been unable to restructure its debt significantly, and now it's going to bankruptcy. This comes after it sold its operations in several states for over $1 billion, and still they're billions more in debt. Frontier, you may know them probably if you don't live in their area because they bought part of Verizon's network. So Verizon's Fios network, part of it was sold to Frontier, and now they're going into bankruptcy. Frontier's really struggled recently. Of course, cord cutting is a big part of that. Other people are blaming mismanagement. You know, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know I always struggle with this idea that there's one reason to do it, right? Some people will say mismanagement, nothing to do with cord cutting. Some people are going to say it's everything to do with cord cutting. Cord cutting is the reason Frontier is failing. It's probably all of the above, to be honest with you. Cord cutting is probably part of the issue. Denying that, just denying the obvious that they have a lot less TV subscribers. When you have less TV subscribers, you're not making as much money. And mismanagement is probably a big part of it. You know, there are other similar sized cable TV companies who are not nearing bankruptcy at this time. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on it. But the good news is, for now, Frontier Communications is going to continue operation. If you have Frontier as your internet provider, you don't have to worry, but they say in March or February they intend to declare bankruptcy. So we're going to keep a very close eye on this because it looks like in March is when this is going to happen, but they've started to notify their creditors, according to Bloomberg. But I expect this to be like a domino effect. I expect more and more companies to do this. A lot of them got very fat on projections that, hey, this is just, you know, we have basically a monopoly and the market's going to keep going up and up and up. Well, that didn't happen, and that's left a lot of them in very tough positions. A lot of them have more runway, money on hand, and creditors on hand to allow them to kind of ride this out a while longer. But I expect more and more cable TV companies to declare bankruptcy. Let me know, who do you think is next? What would the next company to declare bankruptcy be? CenturyLink? Some other small Cable One, whatever? I'm just throwing out names. You let me know who you think is the next one up that'll be most likely to declare bankruptcy. All right, so do you share passwords? According to a new study of 13 to 24-year-olds, 81% of them share passwords. Now, it doesn't mean anybody 25 and older isn't sharing passwords. It's just shocking to see the 13 to 24-year-olds, 81% of them are sharing passwords right now between their friends to get services. You give me Netflix, I'll give you HBO Plus kind of thing. And that's becoming more and more common. Spectrum and others have very specifically come out and said, hey, password sharing is something we want to crack down on. Spectrum has been partnering with Disney and others to find ways to crack down on password sharing so that they, in their mind, if they can stop password sharing, they can reverse the cord cutting trend and at least their losses with it. Now, I'm dubious of that, I guess. Is that the right word? We'll see. I don't think that this is, stopping password sharing, which I do understand, will suddenly turn around their financial woes. But I do understand the issue here. If 81% of Americans are swapping passwords back and forth, that means people are using a service and not paying for it. And I get it that some people say, well, I wouldn't do it otherwise. Well, then don't do it, because it costs them money for you to be watching that. Because some of these services pay by the view, where if you're watching it, they have to pay somebody money for that. That's why you often see things like are you still watching? The flip side of it is, even if they're not paying by the view, because some services don't, they pay a flat rate for however many views. They have to pay for the server and the bandwidth costs and more as you stream it. So there's real expenses on their end. If everybody who was watching was paying, their profit margins would be a lot higher. With some, especially smaller streaming services, still not making money, the desire to crack down on password sharing will probably become more and more severe in the months and years to come as they struggle to find a way to contain their losses, contain the expenses of having to stream this, or pay content providers for streams from people who aren't actually paying them. So to watch on this, but look for password sharing to become a hot topic this year as companies look to crack down on it. Leave me a comment. Let me know, do you share passwords? Are you worried at all about them cracking down on that? Let me know. Speaking of spending money, according to a survey from DEG, the Digital Entertainment Group that came out with a survey recently, it just wrote up a report on, $15.9 billion was spent on subscriptions in 2019. So $15.9 billion of your money went to things like Apple Music, Netflix, Hulu, and more. So, and it's subscription streaming services. So we're not talking about Amazon Subscribe and Save and that kind of stuff. We're talking about music and video subscription streaming services. So I want to know, how much of that did you pay? And leave me a comment. But does it surprise you that almost $16 billion was paid towards streaming? When you look at that, you can definitely now suddenly think, oh yeah, I get why everybody wants to get in. I get why Comcast is through their NBC partnership is launching Peacock, Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus, and more. With $15.9 billion last year spent, even if you just get like 1% of that, or if you can get 2 or 3% of that, that's a lot of money. You don't need to be Netflix. You don't need to be Hulu or Amazon to make a good chunk of change out of $15.9 billion flowing around out there. A lot of that did go to the big names, but there's a lot of that flowing to smaller companies out there. So I'd love to know, how much do you spend every month in your streaming bill, not just for TV, but if you could, hey, here's how much I spend on TV, here's how much I spend on music. We have a music service. We pay for Amazon Music there and enjoy it. So let me know what you pay for and how much you spend. And it's kind of one of those things, we talk a lot about cost of living. Things like music subscriptions and video subscriptions are more maybe because we do more, or are they actually less? Because I was paying over $100 just for DirecTV. That's gone. I had DirecTV and I already had Amazon. I already had Netflix with my DirecTV. I just added Hulu, and later I added a live TV service. But it's still less than half of what I would have been paying right now for DirecTV. So you let me know. Are you saving money? And what are you subscribing to? What services? I'd love to hear from you. All right, YouTube TV is adding more PBS stations. Last year in December, PBS and PBS Kids went live on YouTube TV in over 100 markets. At the time, YouTube TV said more PBS stations will come in 2020. I've been hearing rumors of a station here and a station there going live. Confirmed it in a few markets. If you notice additional PBS stations going live, let me know. What I've really noticed here is a lot of stations, okay, you live in a major city where there's 2 or 3 PBSs on your cable provider. Maybe one of them showed up on PBS, or on YouTube TV from PBS, excuse me. Now I'm hearing that the alternate one, the other PBS station, is appearing in your market. So let me know if you've seen that. If you have a brand new one, let me know. I do know there's still some markets without PBS at all, where it's maybe PBS on demand, but slowly they are adding additional markets. We have confirmed new markets coming to YouTube TV, and I would expect if you don't have PBS now, over the course of 2020, PBS will continue to roll out in more and more markets. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you found, where you're seeing new PBS stations. If you include the call letters in the city, that makes my life a lot easier to try to track it down. Maybe just say, I'm in this random town without a state, I got PBS now. So leave me as much detail as you can. That's really a big help. All right, so Roku earlier this year, late last year now, January kind of threw me for a loop there, announced plans to expand into South America with the Brazil market. This morning, Roku officially announced that they are expanding the Roku players and TVs into Brazil. Effective immediately, they're also launching a new streaming channel on their thing, similar to the Roku channel from my understanding, a little bit, but in Brazil. So Roku is getting into more streaming in Brazil and launching streaming services in Brazil. Brazil is a very fast-growing market in South America. That's a great one for Roku to try to corner. And like Amazon's been working very hard to try to corner India. And Roku's been looking a lot more into Europe, Central and South America. And this kind of continues that plan. Amazon's looking at other places. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out as the chess game of trying to get as many active accounts as possible between Roku and Amazon happens as they move through different countries. Do you live in Brazil? I know we got some readers of Brazil. I see you out there in the little statistics. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Are you picking up a Roku? I know a lot of people imported Rokus and other players. I know that was really big for video game systems back in the day to import them into Brazil. I have a good friend that I used to work at a summer camp with from Brazil tell me that when he would come up here for summer camps back in the 90s, he would buy up all the Sega Genesis stuff he could because it was hard to get down there, he said. But let me know if you're from Brazil or you have family from Brazil, if you intend to get a Roku. What other streaming competitors are there in Brazil? I'll be honest, I'm not fully familiar with Apple TV, Fire TV, and Android TV. Who would you say is the largest, most popular streaming player in Brazil right now? Let me know. All right, can YouTube TV replace PlayStation View? This is a question I've been getting a lot because PlayStation View is recommending YouTube TV as a replacement for their service. So Jess sat down and updated our posts, our head-to-head comparison of YouTube TV to PlayStation View so that you can go and look at it and say, hey, I know YouTube TV is being recommended by Sony. Is it actually a good fit? So check out that post, check out that breakdown, and let me know. Do you think YouTube TV is an acceptable replacement for PlayStation View? You have a little over a week now, less than 2 weeks to go until PlayStation View shuts down, so let me know. All right, Gordon Ramsay and others are coming to the CBS over-the-air network, Dabble, which I guess we should call it now Viacom CBS. So Viacom CBS now launched Dabble late last year with Martha Stewart and Emerald as a cross between the Food Network and HGTV and a free over-the-air option there. It also streams for free on their website. But now they've struck a deal with ITV Studios and All3 Media to bring additional content, including Gordon Ramsay's US version of Hell's Kitchen and The F Word, along with additional content like, I think it's Nanny 911. I think it's Nanny 911. I think there was another one called Nanny Rescue or something like that. I think it's the 911 version of that. And other networks or shows to Dabble. So Dabble has had a lot of Martha Stewart content, Emerald content, and more. Now they're adding Gordon Ramsay content. And again, it goes back to rescanning your antenna. Dabble says they're now available in 90% of the United States, primarily on CBS affiliates with your antenna. So if you haven't rescanned, check it out. If you don't get it, you can stream it through their antenna, through their website over at Dabble. So check out the link in the show notes if you want to find out their website there to maybe try it out, see if it's a good fit for you. And let me know, what's your favorite over-the-air TV network? There's a lot of new ones. I'd love to hear from you. Well, that's it for today. I hope you are all having a fantastic day. Today is January 21st, 2020. We'll be back tomorrow with more Core Today. But leave me a comment and do me a favor. If you have any tips, if you find a deal, you find something new with a streaming service here, many of our best stories come from readers like you sending us tips. Go to corecarsnews.com, click on the Contact Us. Please be as thorough as possible. Let us know if you can supply a link. as detailed description as possible about what you found really helps us. Very vague things like, I just saw on my live TV service a new channel was added. Well, what channel? What live TV service? Was it YouTube TV, AT&T TV Now, Sling, and more? So be as thorough as possible. If you find a deal or something online, share the link too. That's really helpful. And hopefully your tip will help other great cord cutters save money but still watch the shows they enjoy. Well, that's it for today. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Take care, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and take care.